besties, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kyan and this is Kyan is Booked, and today I am introducing the Empire Standalone reading vlog and my Read All of Rina Kent's Backlist in Order series. So we've made it to the Empire Standalones. They're 4 books and it's Empire of Desire, Empire of, I can't remember because obviously I haven't read that one yet. So I'm just coming to you to kind of introduce the vlog and then to talk about Empire of Desire because I was supposed to read Empire of Desire before I read the next duet. So I have to do this introduction, read the next duet, and then you'll see me a little bit later on reading the rest of the Empire series. Don't ask me any questions. That's just how the reading order tells me to read it. So the first book we're going to be talking about in the Empires of series is going to be Empire of Desire. And this follows Nathaniel and Gwyneth. So the tropes that we will be reading, and I have notes down here, so if you see me looking down, that's why. I didn't want to come to this because I finished the book. I didn't want to come to this without any thoughts or feelings. So the tropes we're reading about, we have an angsty age gap, marriage of convenience, father's best friends, unrequited love, and an office romance. So to set the scene, Gwyneth is 18 in the prologue and then 20 when the book begins. And then Nathaniel is her dad's best friends. They are actually, they own a law firm together and they've been best friends literally Gwyneth's entire life. Like they met in college, and I believe a year into law school is when Gwyneth was just dropped on his doorstep. And yeah, so dropped on dad's doorstep, and Nathaniel in a way was like Uncle Nathaniel, blah, blah, blah. So Gwen starts to grow up and she hits the age of 17, 18, and she realizes her attraction to Nathaniel, her dad's best friend. Nathaniel does not begin to find her attractive until after her 18th birthday. So she kisses him and he's like, no, I'm Uncle Nathaniel. You'll only refer to me as Uncle Nathaniel, etc., right? And then he avoids her for 2 years. So here we are, age of 20. Nathaniel cannot keep how he feels about her a secret. He constantly thinks about it. It takes up all of his thought process sometimes, and so he's been avoiding her a lot, right? But unfortunately her dad finds himself in an accident, and she desperately needs Nathaniel's help, right? Because she's going to school to become a lawyer, but the problem is her dad and her grandmother are in this huge battle right now for the trust that her grandfather left behind. And with that, people coming for the company and all the situations that she finds herself in, Nathaniel has a bright idea to marry Gwyneth, or Gwen, to kind of help her through all of those legal troubles, or that's what he tells himself, right? So he says oh, I'm marrying her to control and handle things for her, even though he doesn't necessarily even believe his own lies, and his son's actually the one who calls him out. And oh my gosh, before I sat down, I meant to look up no, it's not his son, his nephew. I meant to look up his nephew's, it's not Lies and Truths. Okay, I'll put the reading vlog up here because I've already done his reading vlog. It could be Lies and Truths. I don't know. Oh my, no, it's not, because that's Asher and Kai. No, Rina. That's Asher and Rina. So I don't know which one it is. I'm not even gonna try and take up time to think about it. So I will pop it up in the up here's a link so you can watch it, because I've already read his I've already read his duet, and so I was really excited to get to Nathaniel's story. And Sebastian, that's his name. Sebastian, his nephew's I don't really think I believe you, right? So Gwen starts working at the law firm, just so he can kind of get an eye on her. She's just an intern, so she gets assigned to his caseload, and he gives her all this work to do. Gwen does struggle, and I think the reason why it was so easy for me to read this book is she does struggle with heavy bouts of depression, which I absolutely understand and I can absolutely relate to. So I felt it kind of refreshing that we had a heroine in the series who kind of like struggle with the darker things in life, and you know, she's been to therapy, like her dad like cares for her so much, so going through all of this, like knowing that he's in a coma, not, like being told that he's never gonna wake up again, is very difficult for her, because it's always been her and her dad, because everybody else she's loved has always left her, and that's something that she's really struggled with. And like she's been to therapy, she still continues to go to therapy, which I really like that representation as well. But you know, she struggles a lot, and Nathaniel knows about her struggles, but it's still like kind of hard to like open up to somebody, especially somebody that you want to care about you, about your struggles with your mental health. So I thought that was like beautifully done. And I really found it interesting, like when Nathaniel started to like really embrace his feelings for her and really embrace like her place in his life, and about how like even if her dad woke up, he wouldn't want to divorce her. Like he cares for her, and finding a way to tell her dad but also keep her becomes something of a priority to him. But you know, I love heroes, and I love a man who like has these feelings, and like the only way they really show it is like through their actions and not necessarily like verbally, and Nathaniel definitely fits that bill. I rated this one 5 stars. The steam is, listen, it was a lot steamier than I was expecting, which not hating at all. I absolutely loved it. I did write down some quotes. I think I have 4. Just like some favorite quotes. I kind of wanted to start doing that, because I know sometimes when I stop to do like my updates, I read quotes I like or scenes I like. And because I blew through this one, I figured now would be a really great opportunity for me to talk about this. So my first one is, I also went and broke my own heart because I gave it to someone who doesn't want it. When I read that line, I was like, yeah, girl, I get it. Like, we've all been there, sweetheart. The next one is, you're the most colorful fucking thing I've ever met, Gwyneth. And this is like a point in time where he's still kind of like semi-accepting the fact that he cares about her, but also at the same time pushing it away, because it's like really difficult for him to acknowledge his feelings for her. And the next one that I read is going to be how they want the relationship to be more, and he's still pushing back, but Gwen is like, no, like I want you to listen to me. And she says to him, you'll always turn my volcano to ashes, won't you? And I will say his response to this, and I don't want to give too much away because I just enjoyed this so much. If you can't tell, if I'm not doing a great job of expressing it, like I really did enjoy this, but I felt like that line was almost just like the final straw when it came to their relationship, like moving forward. Hopefully I explained that somewhat decently. And the final one is, it's her energy and cheerfulness. It's the fucking meaning she gave to my life when I thought I didn't need such a thing. Because, you know, Nathaniel's always been like referred to as like cold, calculating, manipulative, uncaring of the things that are happening around him. And I don't necessarily think that that's a fair analysis of him with the people that he cares about. And I really do feel like his feelings grow for Gwyneth in a way that is extremely beautiful. But it just takes him a little bit of time to acknowledge the fact that he's there with her. So I felt like Empire Desire was a really good introduction to the Empire Standalone series. I'm very excited for the next couple of them. I'll introduce them before like I start reading them, or I'll introduce them within like the first 20 to 30% once I get there. I don't even remember what the next one is. I'm still kind of coming down and like coming to terms with the fact that like I only got 1 book for Nathaniel and Gwyneth, when I really did truly love their story. So in the next clip, you're gonna see me discussing whatever book's next, because you know, I'm just so excited for it.
Hey besties, what's up? So I've been wanting to film in my glasses more, but the problem is, and I don't know why it's like this, so like just stick with me here. I bought the anti-glare on my glasses, but there's still a glare on them, right? And I've been trying really hard to be like hyped about my newfound, sorry, I'm trying to sit up. I sit low in my seat. Let me raise myself. There we go. Raise myself. My goodness, this is chaotic. Okay, so anyways, I've been wanting to film in my glasses a little bit more, so I've been trying to find places that like I can do that and like still film but still have it kind of be quiet, but you know, all the things you need to do. Where did I put the notes for this one? All right, so I have my trusty notebook here. This is where I'm writing like all of my notes down and stuff like that. And okay, so we're here to talk about Empire Sin. So this is the second book in the Empire Standalone series. And this is actually a book that I've been wanting in this overall reading for a little bit now, because Knox is Teal's twin brother from all the way back in the Royal Elite series. So we finally get to get his story. And so I'm really excited about that, because like I've been waiting to hear his happily ever after. So he is a big like one night stand guy. So he doesn't choose to sleep with women like more than once. He doesn't want to see them again, etc., etc. Like he has his own issues with not how they were raised, but like those first couple years of their life. And like, you know, he deals with the trauma of everything in his own way, right? Also, I'm filming this in the Walgreens parking lot, and I didn't know so many people came to Walgreens during the day. So this follows Knox, and he actually has a one night stand with who we know as Anastasia. And what was so funny during this reading, I was like, I just really wish we would get back to like more of the mafia side of the series and like the mafia books and blah, blah, blah. Y'all, Anastasia is the cousin to Ray from the Throne Duet. She ran away and they haven't been able to find her. And here she is in the law firm working as like an IT person and unknowingly having a one night stand with her boss. Who knew? Not her, that's for sure. Knox knows like pretty early on that she's lying about who she is, and he's determined to get to like the core of it. He doesn't understand why she's lying. He doesn't understand why like she just won't tell him the truth. And he desperately doesn't want to like her or like want to be with her, but he also can't stay away. Like he has this like low-key obsession with her, and he's not able to step away from that because he is obsessed, like straight up obsessed with this woman, right? So yes, that's it, blah, blah, blah. He finds himself like once his obsession moves into the next plane of existence, he finds himself, I don't want to say frustrated, because frustrated is not the right word, but he finds himself not understanding why he feels the way he feels about her. He cares for her, but she won't divulge all of her secrets, right? And for her, it's really difficult because she doesn't want to be sent back to, you know, she's just like not built for the mafia life, I think, is how she kind of believes. She doesn't quite know where her place is. And if she goes back, like she's going to be locked away again, and she's not going to be allowed to live her life, and she's not going to be allowed to make the choices that she wants to make. And, you know, that's what she's really focused on, is like, she knows like if I go back, like everything that I've worked for and everything that I want, like I'm not going to have anymore. So I think it's like super interesting. A car just pulled in. Can I pull this up? I can't. Anyways, so I just find it like really interesting that he's so determined to like find out what's going on with her, and so determined to be in her life, even though he has a hard and fast rule of like not having anything past a one night stand. So I just find it really funny. I really liked Knox. I liked too that there's a group message that has like all the Royal Elite people, and then our two guys, Daniel and Knox, who are in America right now, they're part of it. So I like the fact that they all kind of like still keep up with each other, even if it's like from a competition perspective, because you know they're all a really competitive group. So like we get the text messages and all that kind of stuff. So like I thought that part was really cute as well. I was like, oh my gosh, like they all still talk together. That's so fun. But I do really like the fact that once Knox decides that he likes Anastasia, once he decides that he wants to be with her and that he cares for her, he really starts to try and figure out, okay, so she's keeping secrets, but there has to be a reason why. You know what I mean? And when he finally figures it out, I will say that he's very taken aback by the secret that she was hiding. Not that it's a bad secret, but just he wasn't expecting it to have ties to some really powerful people, right? Like he, like me as the reader, didn't make the connection that what do you call it? He didn't make the connection that she was related to the Pocken. So I also wrote, I give this 5 stars, by the way, in case you didn't notice. Maybe it's for the nostalgia, I don't know, because Daniel's book is up next. I'm really looking forward to that one. But maybe it's because of the nostalgia. I don't know. I don't care. Do you want to know why I don't care? Because I had a really good time with this book. I loved Knox being able to get his happily ever after. And I like that he was like knocked off his pedestal a little bit before receiving his HEA. So that felt really good to me. So I wrote down a couple of my favorite quotes, and I'm pretty sure Knox says all of them, and I'm not even mad about it. So you're running away again, just like you ran from your previous life, because that's what you do best, right? Leaving, running all the fucking time. So this is when he like first starts to confront her with his feelings, and she's just like, I don't do this. So that part was really funny to me. And he's like, you can break up with me all you want, but you're still fucking mine. So obsession, check. Possessive, check. It's like all those things, but like in a way that's manageable, I think is the best way to say it. I'm the man who loves your daughter, and I refuse to leave without her. Like, Knox, the man that you chose to be when you finally found your lady, chef's kiss. So that's Empire of Sin. I'm so glad that we finally got Knox's happily ever after. I've been, like, once I read Royal Elite, I've been really looking forward to it. And the next clip, you're going to see me chatting about Daniel. I am interested to see if we get some answers about Daniel, like why he doesn't like blondes. Like, could this person be the reason why he doesn't? I don't know. I'm just really interested to see, but I'm gonna go to Walgreens now because I need to buy some things, and I really just then want to go back to my house. So, talk to you in a little bit.
Well, the time has come, friends. I have finally read Empire of Hate. I'll hold it up right here for you because it's still on my Kindle, fresh, if you will. This has been on, I actually can't even, it's that I don't want to admit how many TBRs it's been on so far this year and how many TBRs I haven't read it. So anyway, back to what I was saying. I finished Empire of Hate. This follows Daniel, who is working at the same law firm as Knox, who we read in the previous book. And Knox and Daniel are like really good friends, yada, yada, yada. And for some reason, Daniel, who, and like we haven't been told why, he has a no blondes rule, right? So in walks this blonde, and this blonde is his assistant, right? And then we find out that she's the blonde. Her name is Nicole. And I really want to like label this as like a second chance, but it feels kind of weird to label it as a second chance because like they never really actually dated. There was just always like this like tension behind all of their conversations and things like that. And she's been in love with him this whole time, and he's been like holding himself back from her, even though he cares for her, even though like it's just like a weird, complicated situation. Hang on, we're gonna let that marinate a little bit more, but we're gonna get these eyebrows. Oh! Anyway, so I really liked the story because I've always had questions about why he's such a blonde hater. Like, I mean, he literally wouldn't date blondes, like nothing. Blondes would hit on him and he would just like ignore them. So it was like a really interesting dynamic, and it was because like every time he was with a blonde, he would always think of Nicole. Now, Nicole is like I mean, he's horrible to her. Like, horrible to her. And Nicole wants to quit her job, but she can't because she is responsible for caring for her brother and is trying to keep him away from his like super abusive dad, right? And there's like a whole lot of like convoluted stories that go into like all of that. So like I'm not going to go super in depth as to why she has custody and they're on the run, but all of that is eventually revealed because like Daniel can only be patient for so long, right? So I really liked it because it really forced like them both to have honest conversations about what happened in their youth, because there's a lot of stuff that did happen, like most Rina Kent books, a lot of trauma that did happen, and like it was perceived one way and then it was treated a different way. And honestly, like sitting there and having those knockout drag out fights and like those honest conversations were so important to their relationship as a whole. So I really liked that. I like still too that in this series we see a lot of like our royal elite guys, because like they'll have a group chat that they talk in, and I think it's really funny how they're always like chatting and like gossiping and like they're always in each other's business, because I don't know, it just brings me like great joy. Anyways, we also get to talk a lot to Astrid in this one, and it's a really interesting concept because like Daniel and Astrid are like best friends, and like she's married to this dude Levi, and Astrid and Nicole are stepsisters. And it's just this like, and I'm not going to go into like the ins and outs of everything, like they've always had a strenuous like relationship. It's always been like really difficult for them. So it's just like, it's such an interesting concept in my humble opinion. That so many different portions of this like tie into each other. But yeah, outside of that, like I really did enjoy the story, but outside of all of that, it was just like another really like juicy book where like the couple hates each other, but like they would die for each other type deal. And I am really enjoying that. And like the Empire series feels like that's like the vibe, I guess is the best way to say it, because we have had a lot of couples who have really struggled with each other, and I think that the next book is going to be like a huge whammy. Belle's like staring at me, but she won't come through. I think the next book is going to be like a big whammy, because those are oh man, I'm so excited for that one. But anyways, I really did enjoy their happily ever after. I really did enjoy the two of them like getting together, and like Daniel finally admitting his feelings for her have been there for such a long period of time, and it wasn't just all in her head, and it wasn't just things that she made up like as a teenager. And I really do appreciate like the honest conversations they had. And two, like I really like Daniel's relationship with her brother. Like it's really just so, what are you sniffing? It's really just so cute. And I just really loved it. So I enjoyed it. I definitely like solid 4 stars, right? Because like I'm still really into the first book, Gwen and what do you call it, Nathaniel. That age gap, like whew, it had me in let's just leave it at that. So anyways, what is next? Then the final book, this will be the final book for this vlog. That's crazy, because it's been forever since I've even updated on this vlog. So I love the fact that I finally have myself together here. Or I'm like pretending to. My neighbor's yelling about the Jaguars right now, but the Jaguars are arguably one of the worst teams in the NFL. And so like the fact that she has the audacity to like bother my Sunday night with this is like killing me. And here's Belle just being Belle. Look at her. Anyway, so anyways, I really liked it. You didn't see any footage of me reading it, and I didn't stop halfway through because I just binged this one night. So I'm going to do a much better job of making sure I do that on this next read. So, read it. It's a really good addition. I'm glad we finally got some answers about Daniel, because like he's just been very much like, I'm going to say in the background, but like we know of him, but I wanted to know more. So really excited about that one. But I am off to straighten my hair, and then I need to film for this week. So I will update you when I start the next Empire book, and we'll see how I'm feeling about that couple. All right, besties, we're back, and I know you're going to be shocked by this, but I finished Empire of Lust. I know. Sorry, I've been filming. I just took a sip of some water, rubbed it off. Anyways, okay, so let me get my notes out because I was going to stop at the 50% point and, like, update you guys, but I just couldn't. Like, I really, I couldn't do it. Like, I just had to finish the book, and I had to finish everything having to do with it, and none of y'all were gonna stop me. Obviously, very, like, clearly nobody was gonna stop me. Okay, so Empire of Lust is the 4th book in, obviously, the Empire Standalone series, right? And this follows Kingsley, who is the other partner to our BFF Nate. He's from book 1, which was Empire of Desire, right? So they're the besties. And then Nate's obviously the one who married Kingsley's daughter, right? He's still not over it, by the way. He's still deeply in his feelings, right? And his leading lady is Aspen, who is the senior partner at his firm, really good friends with Nate. They've always been, like, going at each other and arguing, and, like, there's always been issues between the two of them. And it comes out, and this is not a spoiler either because it's on the back, and then, like, obviously if you read in the books in the series before, like, we find out that Aspen is actually Gwen's mom. Now, there is a whole, like, horrible, torrid like, backstory as to why she wasn't in Gwen's life, and I'm not going to go too much into that because I don't necessarily think that is something that I should talk about because it's, like, a huge issue, like, throughout. So, like, I'm mostly going to talk about kind of just like high points, I think, or, like, things that I think that, like, won't spoil the overall, right? So they start off as a one-night stand, and it happens actually when Aspen is young. She's like 15 or 16, but obviously Kingsley, like, doesn't know at the time, and they're at this party and they hook up, and it was Aspen's first time, right? And she ends up pregnant, and she's in a very bad situation at home. I'm not going to go into that because, like, it definitely plays into the plot overall, but just so she's in a really bad situation at home. Mom's gone, dad's locked up. She's living with, I believe, the dad's sister and the husband, and they just don't treat her right. So in the hospital, she's told that her, like, baby was stillborn, and she was actually handed, like, a baby that wasn't alive, and they took her baby and went and dropped the baby off on Nate's doorstep, and Nate has Kingsley's doorstep, and Kingsley has hated this woman ever since, right? And you're like, oh, well, why didn't they know each other? Because they were at a masquerade ball and they never took their masks off or, like, exchanged names or anything like that. So anyways, fast forward to the future. Everybody knows who everybody is, right? Like, Nate and Gwen are getting married and then going on their honeymoon, and Kingsley's pissed because he had to invite Aspen to the wedding, but, like, Gwen wanted it, and he's jealous and all of this, right? So he ultimately hates her for abandoning their daughter, but in turn, she was told that the baby was stillborn, and she was literally handed a dead baby, and they buried that baby, like, in the cemetery underneath a grave marker for her child. So she goes to that cemetery every year, sobs her eyes out, gets drunk, and, like, mourns the loss of the child who grew up with her dad. It was all sorts of, like, twisted. I was like, because at first I didn't like Aspen when I found out who she was, but then I'm like, oh my gosh, she has this, like, super horrific, tragic backstory, and, like, how could anybody be mad at her, right? And that is, like, honestly why I gave this book 4 stars, because I needed Kingsley to let it go. I needed him to realize that, like, she hadn't done anything, and y'all just need to leave her alone. Like, that's where I was with it. I was like, why are you holding a grudge? Like, this is annoying. Stop it. So anyways, Kingsley, he's really intense in everything he does. Love, hate, work, etc., etc. Like I said, I wanted him to forgive her faster, but, like, they're both really stubborn. And then you have Aspen, who has shut herself off from the world, like, doesn't feel anything, doesn't have any type of emotions. And, you know, she's trying to build back her life. She's still trying to live without her child, but then she finds out, like, her child's not dead, and, like, she doesn't have to live without her. So just imagine the amount of emotions and, like, what she's going through. And I needed Kingsley to, like, just let go a little bit and really start to care for Aspen. And he really does at a certain point, because, like, Aspen's running from a lot in this book. Like, her past is coming back to haunt her pretty badly. And so she's running from a lot, and Nate starts to step into certain things because he's like, what we're not going to do is this. Like, what you're not going to do to my woman, who's not my woman, but is my woman, is this. And that's what I thought was hilarious. I will say that there are mafia ties in this book, and we love to see it because I love Rina Kent's like mafia world. And through this one, especially in Anastasia's book, like, obviously we see that connection, and then, you know, like, we slowly start to see these like mafia ties. So I think we're about to like whoop whoop around to go back into the mafia world, which I'm pretty excited about because I have 2 trilogies left after this, and then I will be in the Legacy of the Gods series, which is crazy to think that I've almost made it to the end of my Rina Kent journey, which honestly crazy. So I overall really liked it. I like Kingsley and Aspen together. I think they're like a really cute couple in like a super toxic, deranged way. But I think also too, like, a lot of issues, especially with couples who are looking for second chances, is how do we get that trust back that we've lost? And that's why, like, I've always struggled with second chances, like in real life, but also in books, and why it's not, I don't hate the trope, but it's not necessarily my favorite trope, because how do you trust somebody again, right? In this instance, so many people, like outside people, lied to them about it that I can understand why it's easier for them to like come back together, because it wasn't their fault. It was everybody else's fault. It was everybody else that was like in cahoots to like ruin their lives that really messed everything up for them. And I hated that for them. Like, it made me so mad. So irrationally angry on behalf of like these fictional characters. Okay, so also too, like, it wouldn't be like a moment if I didn't tell you some of my favorite quotes from this one. So, he has a way of looking at me as if I'm his favorite meal, not a mere ingredient. And we love to be in the entire meal, okay? This time she'll learn the hard way that she's fucking mine and there's no fighting it. This is the part where like he really starts to realize that like everything he believed about her was a lie, that it wasn't her that did all these things, that started all this drama, that like ruined Gwyn's ability to have a mom growing up, because like that was his big stickler. He's like, you abandoned our baby, like you abandoned our baby, and she goes, they told me she was dead. Like, what was I supposed to do? Be like, you're lying to me. They handed her a dead baby, y'all. So was she supposed, like, and that's the thing. And he's like, you're lying. And then obviously like the truth always comes out in the end. And too, like, I really liked watching Gwen and her build a relationship. Like, it was kind of uncomfortable and like kind of painful at first because it was like, wow, this is like really awkward. But I thought it was just like really like kind of beautiful because Gwen had wanted a mom for so long. So I just loved it. And then the very last one is, she's my fucking woman, the only woman I've ever wanted to be mine. But like my literal favorite scene is when the two of them are screaming at each other and they're having this like super like toxic drag out fight, right? And he's just like, and they're screaming, and he was like, listen, I was your first and I'm gonna be your last. Sir, calm down. Ooh, I was like, okay, Kingsley, this is what we like to see. Now we're not mad at each other. Now we can be in a relationship with each other, right? So, solid 4 stars. The only reason why I won't give it 5 stars is because I feel like Kingsley held on to his grudge a little bit too long, and like that's the mother of his child, and knowing how much she cares for people and knowing how much it messed up her entire life not to have her baby, I thought it was absolutely outrageous that he continued to hold a grudge against her. And that's a hill I'm willing to die on, ladies and gentlemen. Anyways, I was going to rank these books at the end here and tell you which ones were my favorite. And like kind of like give you an idea of like which ones I liked more, but I'm gonna be like 100 with you. I'm having a difficult time trying to decide because I felt like these were like really well timed, really well placed standalones to kind of lead us into like the rest of the series that we're going to be following. And I will probably tell you that despite the fact that I only gave them 4 stars, as a couple, Kingsley and Aspen are probably my favorite, just because like I wanted them to be together because obviously they created a whole nother life, and I wanted Aspen to get the forgiveness that like I felt like she deserved from Kingsley, and I wanted Kingsley to feel like he was whole again, with a family that felt whole as well. So I think that they would probably be my favorite from like a forbidden aspect. Obviously I'm going Nate and Gwen, because like that man woke up from a coma and found out that his best friend had married his daughter. So we're talking drama. I loved that one. Okay, so it's so crazy, guys. This is the end of the Empire Standalone vlog. I hope you loved it. I really enjoyed this series. I know I say that like at the end because like I want you to understand I wouldn't be continuing the series and I wouldn't be reading these books like if I didn't like it. I would have skipped them or just DNF'd them at this point. And that would have been a really short vlog. But I really am enjoying like kind of seeing all the connections and like older characters come in. So I'm getting like even more excited to kind of go into the later trilogies as well. So if you haven't already, please like, please comment, let me know. Have you read these books? Are you interested in reading Rina Kent's Backlist? And as always, like, please subscribe. I would love to have you as part of my subscribers. And I will catch you in the next Rina Kent vlog or the next video that goes up on the channel. Bye.